Starting off on the right foot is so much better than trying to course correct once you've already set some kind of a foundation. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you the 5 things that I wish I had known before I started my agency 6 years ago. My name is Sher, and for the past 6 years, I've been helping businesses make websites through my agency, the Sher Agency. Along the way, I've learned a lot of stuff, and in this video, I'm gonna be teaching you about 5 things that have really made a difference for me in the way that I think about business, web design, freelancing, whatever perspective you want to look at this whole creative industry we're in. I think this is going to help you quite a bit. My first tip for you guys is to like and subscribe to this channel because I post all kinds of stuff that will help you. Just kidding. My first tip is to be systematic about your sales processes. And I know that sounds boring and convoluted, but it's actually quite important. See, a lot of freelancers, when they're first starting off, they try to rely on only using referrals to get business. So past clients sending referrals to them. Maybe their first client was someone in their network. But really, that's a really passive way to go about handling one of the most important pieces of business, revenue. And if you can't have a consistent flow of leads, you're going to be stressed out about where you're going to be getting business from all the time. So if you're worried about how you're going to be getting leads, I actually have another video talking just about how to get your first batch of good leads, and you can use it forever. It doesn't have to be just your first batch. And it's something that I think will make a big difference to you if you haven't already taken a look at it. So if you're worried about that, go take a look at that video. Overall, the message here is don't be passive about your sales. Be really active about going out and acquiring new business and have a process in place so you don't have to stress about it anymore. Have a consistent flow of leads coming to your business all the time. My second tip for you is to commit to doing one thing for clients. I know it's tempting, especially at first, to try and be all things to all people, be a jack of all trades. And I too have done that for a really long time. I actually started out kind of being all of my clients' CMO. And that was really fun until I wanted to grow past the point of it being just me. And that happened to me really quickly. I started out and I was just doing all kinds of services for people: Google ads, Facebook ads, web design, logo design, brochures, email marketing, automations, everything you can do as a creative professional. I was trying to fill all those holes in my clients' businesses because I wanted to be as valuable as possible. But what ended up happening was I ended up falling short in all of those areas where I could have just been really good at one thing and solved one problem really well and been the go-to guy for that need all of the time. So what I recommend to you is to start from that. Try and identify what you're best at and niche down on just doing that one thing and develop a step-by-step process for doing it perfectly every single time. It's easier said than done, especially at first. You're going to want to try a few things out. And I actually don't think there's anything wrong with getting your feet wet in a couple of different areas to figure out what you want. But as quickly as you can, you want to determine what you like doing and what you don't like doing and commit hard to doing the one service that you're best at and you want to stick to. Later on, once you've got a team and you've got a system and processes, you can identify other areas that are related to your first area and branch out into those and start moving towards creating systems in that area too. But when you're first starting out, once you've identified something you're good at, stick to that one thing and do it for a really long time and get really good at it. My third tip is to not be afraid of confrontation. This is a tricky one. People are often afraid to go about responding to an email from a disappointed client or checking their bank balance after a week of overspending on things. But really, always confronting the issue as quickly as possible is always the best move. If you let things fester, they get worse. If you've got a pissed off client and they're saying something to the effect of, "Max, how come my website isn't live yet?" and you don't respond for 2 days because you're trying to get the website live before you respond, you just made that problem 2 days worse. Now you've got a late website and a communication issue on your hands. It's better to confront the issue by saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm sorry, there was a delay. I expect it to be live in 2 days, but I'm going to keep you updated as I learn more." Yeah, they're still going to be frustrated that their website isn't live, but you're not compounding the issue by delaying your response until you've solved the problem. I'll tell you what, clients hate bad communication more than they hate bad deliverables, and more than they hate late deliverables. Bad communication is the thing that will get you in the most trouble. I have another YouTube video specifically talking about how to master communication with your clients. Go ahead and check that one out too if you're looking for more information. This tip doesn't only apply to working with other people. It actually applies to dealing with internal pressures as well. One example of this that you might have experienced is if one night you go out to the bars and you have a fun night out with your friends, you wake up and you're dreading looking at your credit card statement, so you just don't. That dread of looking at your credit card statement is always so much worse than actually looking at the number and seeing how much damage you did. Take that example and scale it to your freelancing business or your agency or your business in general, right? Whatever you've got going on. Once you're dealing with cash flow of multiple projects coming in and out, and you've got security deposits and you've got people that you're paying potentially, other expenses, including software, contractors that you've outsourced, whatever it is, right? Knowing specifically what the numbers are, it's better to confront that as early as possible because it's just going to remove so much dread and stress out of your life. And you can actually start to deal with what the reality of your situation is and create a plan for getting out of trouble. So finances is just one example of that. Other examples too, like if you've got something that you've delegated to someone and you suspect that they're not doing it well, don't wait and give them the benefit of the doubt for them to come back to you and turn it in later. Go check on them, see if you can help somehow. Get involved, solve problems before they become problems. Don't have a fear of confrontation. Confront all of the issues in your business as soon as you can. My fourth tip for you is to hire as early as possible. Now, when you're making your first hires, it's going to be tempting to try and find some jack of all trades that you can give anything to do and really just be another you, but they're not another you. If they were another you, they'd be doing what you do. They'd be a freelancer, they'd be an entrepreneur, they'd be an agency owner, whatever it is. You actually have to structure people's jobs. People who don't want to take on the risks of being an entrepreneur or a freelancer probably also don't want to be making up their job on the spot. Some people will, and it's great when you find those people, it's wonderful, but typically it's a better recipe for success to structure what their job is going to be before you hire them. Create processes around what you want that person to be doing and identify what areas of expertise are needed in order to successfully do that job. This goes back to one of the other tips that I gave you. I think it was the second tip that I gave you is to be process oriented around your service. If you're only doing one thing, you can easily create processes around what the best way to do that thing is. And since you're only doing one thing, you only need to get an employee or contractor or freelancer who can do that one thing really well. Therefore, you actually have a chance at succeeding at your first hire. So many people make this mistake. Max, I can't find a VA. What does that mean? What do you want your VA to do? Are they going to be answering emails for you? Are they going to be editing websites for you? Are they editing video for you? That's not the same person. There are many different kinds of talents that people have, and you need to know exactly what it is that you want from someone before you make that job posting. In fact, writing the job posting and required skill sets is a really great way to get started with this. If you start writing out minimum qualifications and you've just described Tony Stark, you're probably not going to have a very good time hiring someone for $15 an hour or whatever it is that you have allocated. Be really structured with your hiring, but do it as quickly as you can because it's one of the first elements to growth. Similarly to when I told you that you need to get your first sale as quickly as possible because it's going to commit you to a certain pace, you also need to make your first hire as soon as possible. Because equally, once you've got someone else depending on you, the game changes and it gets a lot more interesting and a lot more fulfilling as well. It's a lot more fun to do this with people than alone. So I recommend, as I said, doing this as early as possible. My last tip for you today is to be really mindful of your work-life balance. Not because I want you to have this wonderful balanced life, and yeah, I want that too, but what I'm actually talking about here is from a business standpoint. If there's a job in your company, even if it's your job, that requires someone to work more than 40 to 50 hours a week, you're never going to be able to hire someone for that job. And eventually, as entrepreneurs, we want to build businesses that can run without us. Even if that's not your goal, even if you want to work in your business, you still want to take vacations sometime, which means someone needs to be able to fill your shoes for extended periods of time. You don't want to create your own prison. One of my business coaches once told me, you never want to create a job for yourself. You want to create a company for yourself. There are so many great reasons that you want to make sure that your job in your business is replaceable. And I can make a whole nother video about that subject, but really when it comes down to it, you don't want to put more pressure on yourself than a human being other than you can stand. Anyways, guys, I hope this helps save you guys from some of the mistakes that I've made along the way. You'll probably still make some of them, but that's all right. Maybe it'll save you from a little bit of it. And you'll be able to refer back to this video and go, oh, Max was right. I should have listened to that kid. There's other videos on my channel about some of these subjects that may help you. If there's others that you'd like to see videos about, let me know and I'll record them. You can leave them in the comments or DM me on Instagram, whatever works for you. This channel is here to help you guys, so whatever you guys want to see videos about, I'll make more for it. Thank y'all so much and appreciate you watching.